What's going on, all you wild Penn Badgley fans out there? Your two favorite TV reviewers are back tonight with a little wiggle and a shake. Grab your books, folks. We're going back into literary criticism with old Uncle Joe Goldberg. That's right. Your second favorite serial killer, TV serial killer next to Dexter is back. And Penn Badgley back in the character of old Joe Goldberg here in the final season of the hit Netflix series, fifth and final. And what's going to happen to old Joe? Well, we're going to dive right into it. We are talking about season 5 of You.
Hello, you.
Is this what I deserve?
Burn in hell.
As for you, we're not done with each other yet.
That's right. Our favorite serial killer and stalker of women is back, Joe Goldberg. Of course, I'm talking about Penn Badgley, returning to the famous character here. Been a huge hit series since the inception of this first season that came out. Each season, he has a love interest that ultimately ends up killing towards the end. And the fifth and final season, of course, we're going out with a bang with this season, trying to wrap up a bunch of stuff and trying to figure out if Joe will actually get caught finally, getting away with murder all these years. And they really dive into that this season, really a lot of callbacks, flashbacks to the other seasons with Beck being the first season, Love.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And the other characters behind me, the English woman he falls in love with the last season and sets it up with this season, introducing a fierce and fiery redhead, Bronte.
That's right. Bronte, the new character, the new love interest for Joe, who has, puppy dog eyes. The second she lays eyes on him, and, we can understand why. Joe's a handsome lad there. He constantly has women falling for him and goes through a twisted, love affair with each and every one of them and ends up butchering them one by one. He's a sick and twisted guy. I love how the series has, taken us to several different locations, mainly in New York at the bookstore. But as you'll remember last season, that's when he met Kate there on the left. They ended up together and starting a new life together. The show went to England, where she was from, and now back for season 5, back in New York. And, life's going good for Joe. He hasn't killed lately. He has a seemingly happy life, happy wife, and shit hits the fan, and he gets those urges again this season. And it's all started by Bronte there on the right. Redhead comes in one day, seemingly breaks into the bookstore, and he instantly is mesmerized with her. She's a literary fan. He's of course really into books and writing, and they hit it off, of course. And the story really kicks off into high gear. These last 10 episodes of You. And this really does tie everything together. All 5 seasons, you get flashbacks. You see each one of his previous lovers, mainly Beck from the start. She was an author herself, and with what ended up to her character. And really, this goes in some interesting directions here I didn't really see coming, but after watching it makes sense. Finally, people, found out about Joe. There was some evidence dug up, and some women from Joe's past were able to put some pieces together and, move in on Joe and expose him to the world.
Yeah, that was really surprising this season. Each season he kind of gets out of it some way because he's, crazy and he's always like 2 steps ahead. But this season really starts to catch up to him, social media, people that have been investigating this for some time and pinning on him and knowing what he's capable of as stalking women and essentially killing them, manipulates them, and really this season, it's all in the line, basically leading up to the finale, the final episode of the season was really well done. I like how it all tied in together with all the different women throughout the 5 seasons here, how they've really all can see that this is a terrible human being. He'll never change. Each season he has a new woman and then he's like, oh, I'm going to do better and be normal. No, you're a serial killer. Start killing people again. Always starts off that way. And of course, it makes it turn, and that's exactly what happens with the season. I will say it was a nice return to form here with New York City as the backdrop. I thought that the best
Hmm.
seasons were the ones in New York City. Of course, the bookstore
Yeah.
here of him being a English snob and novelist and loving all the books. And Nathaniel Hawthorne here essentially,
Yeah.
and Bronte's character is a nice tie-in to an older character as well. I liked her addition this season. She added some flair to it, and it really goes back to other women and you know, being on his trail and catching him once and for all. And I will say it was also cool the bookstore returning to the murder cage in the basement, much like a serial killer would have, and always question that. I'm like, how did they get that down there? But
Yeah.
yeah, just all around, season 5 was a fun ride. Really nice binge here. It wasn't really slow. I thought it had a nice tone to it, and really great writing. And of course, Penn Badgley is always great as Joe Goldberg.
Another actress that joined this season, who, if you remember back, that we first saw her in True Blood, Anna Camp playing
Of course.
twins, Maddie and Reagan, Kate's sisters, and they're part of this big family, big corporation, the Lockwood Corporation, and it deals with the fallout of something that happens with the business, and then the sisters and everybody fighting to pick up the pieces after the father, I believe, dies in that first episode. And Maddie and Reagan, they have a big part this season. And it was cool to see Anna Camp play those two different personalities. Maddie, I believe, being the wilder one, party girl, sleeping with the other one's husband. Cool performances there, playing both sides of the fence there. It was cool to see Anna Camp join this. I figured she'd be a love interest for Joe, but it didn't go there. And that was good because I figured, they cast her to be Joe's love interest, but they didn't. And I thought she did a good job playing both of those sisters. And it was cool when they showed them both in the same room. It was always showed the one from the back of the head and then Anna, and there she's basically playing the part that Michael B. Jordan was playing in Sinners, the two different kind of brothers there. So it was cool that they did this in You. There was some good performances. We got to see some of the old flames come back. Not spoiling who it was, but somebody wasn't dead that Joe thought was dead. He was caught on camera for a kill, which was really cool to see. Finally somebody had some undeniable evidence that he was a killer. Of course, in typical You fashion, he was able to spin that. He's the master manipulator from season 1 to season 5 here, was always able to get out of trouble up until the very end when it was unavoidable. And we really got to see him go full homicidal maniac, kind of the Patrick Bateman at the final episode there, without a shirt on, raining, going crazy, and ultimately got what was coming to him in a very satisfying way. Really did enjoy the finale there. Liked how they ended it. Brought everything for season 1 to season 5, tied up all the loose ends, and the hero character at the end was satisfying too. Seeing where they started at the beginning of this season to the end and how they're involved, and really enjoyed this final season. Not perfect. It, started wearing out its welcome. It just got more unbelievable as it went on. How is he going to keep escaping, going back to London and then coming back to New York where all these murders are taking place? Eventually he was going to have to get caught. I'm glad they winded it up with this 5th season here. They would have made the same mistake as those later seasons of Dexter, although it's coming back, like the later seasons of Dexter where it just started to become, lazy writing, unbelievable. I'm glad this didn't suffer the same fate. So overall, a satisfying end for the saga of Joe Goldberg. And, it was good to see his character get what was coming to him. He was a predator and, a real type of character that's out there. There's men out there like this that prey on women. And it's good to see the fate that happened to him, and with the whole movement, trying to get this in the forefront and show that there are people out there like this, and show that side and get that out there, and how Joe was not able to escape this time. So it was a overall satisfying finale.
they finally addressed all the plot holes from the previous seasons, and like he's in New York City and not one person can see this. It's like Chicago. There's somebody around all the time on the
Yeah.
streets, in a car, patio, in their apartment. They're going to see him. And all he wears is a black hat, so he's, the cameras too, and like it's completely unbelievable. But this
Hmm.
season they did a great job of really diving into that with social media and people being around and like not listening to his bullshit. Now here's the proof. Here's the evidence that you are indeed a killer. They really dived into that. That was really well
Hmm.
done. This season tied up all the loose ends. Great additions this season's. Characters being introduced this season, bringing back older characters, and essentially the demise of Joe Goldberg as we know it. And Penn Badgley, incredible as always, goes from nice guy to Patrick Bateman, like you were saying throughout this season, every season, just snapping finally, and some gruesome, crazy kills and some practical effects. Bravo to the creators here. Great job. 5 seasons was perfect length. Didn't want it to, get in copy and pasted every season. I think it went out on
Hmm.
top of the final season. Very excited for this. Very impressed with this. Had a great time with this binge worthy series. So definitely check it out if you have not seen it. And had a great time with this. So I'm gonna give you season 5, the entire
Yeah.
series. I'm gonna give it a 4 out of 5. 10 Badgley hair pieces.
Let's also mention that Uncle Jefferson White showed up. That
I
was
guess you
funny
could
when he
call
showed
that.
up. Yeah. Not a huge arc, but yeah, in an episode. Anyway, coming over from Yellowstone, that wild boy. That was fun to see him show up. Played a creeper in New York. Yeah, overall a satisfying series and way to wrap this up. This was a good finale and final season and really brought things to a head, wrapped everything up nicely. Based on a book series, not sure how the books ended, if it was exactly the same or if they diverted away from that, but I really did like how things ended up here. It was a satisfying conclusion to the story. We'll miss Uncle Joe. Excited to see what Uncle Penn does next. Hopefully, a totally different character. He really owned this role, very memorable, like we mentioned, him and Dexter. So when I think of TV serial killers, I'll always think of Michael C. Hall and Penn Badgley here until the next one shows up. I'm sure there'll be another one, but definitely a memorable role and some really great performances throughout, some great moments. This one was always a fun binge when it dropped on Netflix, and we're gonna miss it. So with that being said, I am going to give the final season as well as the entire U series. I'm going to give it a 4 out of 5 Love Quinn hair pieces.
So I want to hear from all you wild serial killers out there. What did you like about you? What's your favorite season? And who do you like more, Dexter or Joe Goldberg? Let us know in
Mm.
the comments below, and don't forget to stay up, subscribe. Also, check out these wild uncles on Facebook, X, and Instagram, and our website, Cinephellas.com, for the latest, greatest TV, movie news, and reviews.
That's right, son. TV reviews. We've been binging a lot lately, and we've already got our next series lined up, our next season of television. We're going to be talking about Gangs of London.
One of my
One of
favorite
our,
TV shows. Oh, so
yes,
good.
it's
So good.
awesome. And it's only getting better, it seems, as each season goes on. We're going to be talking about that this next week coming up. So stay tuned for more great TV reviews. And we will be back with that as well as some other movie reviews very soon. So thank you for watching our review of the fifth and final season of You, the entire You saga. We're going to miss it. So until the next Cinephellas TV review, I am Uncle Henry Badgley.
And I'm Uncle Joe Goldberg signing out till the next TV review. You.
Gee.
G.